Hi, everybody. This is Neil Allen, the comic creator behind the series Zatswan Multiversal Guardian, which you can find out more about on my website, zatswan.com. And I was enjoying a Saturday afternoon when I decided to get online and check out YouTube. And I noticed I had a notification, and somebody there, a commenter, was on one of my videos and informed me that Shawn James, this pro black YouTuber, was having another panic attack. And I do appreciate that notification. Thanks. So I decided to check out to see what was going on, like what this Shawn James was up to. And just for a little bit of history, Shawn James and I have had our differences. He said a lot of offensive rhetoric and has even made some videos personally about me. And we just don't see eye to eye on things. But the thing about it is, like, Shawn James, he says a lot of offensive things, and people call him out on that. And he never deals with that well. He always, like, um, he has these panic attacks and these breakdowns, and he frequently talks about how he wants to leave YouTube. And apparently, he's had a bit of a breakdown that he broadcast publicly, and we're going to talk about that today. So, without any further ado, let's just get right to the meat of the matter. I'm going to listen to some of this, and I will comment on it as we go.
In a completely different direction because there's been a contingent of folks that's been coming in my comment section being extremely disrespectful, going out here talking about they don't like the way that I'm speaking, and these people are basically getting on my goddamn nerves.
So, right here, we see that Shawn James is in his feelings, and he's angry because he doesn't have a very thick skin. People have come in and commented about the strange cadence that he uses. I remember showing him to my girlfriend a while back, and the first thing that she said was, "Why is he talking like that?" And it was actually really causing her some, it was annoying her to the point where she had difficulty even listening to him. So apparently that's not like that wasn't an isolated incident. Other people have problems with the way that he talks, and he's in his feelings because they voice those problems. Let's continue moving on.
And because they're getting on my nerves, basically, I'm really thinking about just walking away from this YouTube platform. And I'm really thinking about walking away from this YouTube platform because I'm really getting tired of having to hear these people constantly complaining about the way that I speak, talking about.
So yeah, he's on the path to some sort of self-destruction, because Shawn James has threatened to like walk away from YouTube numerous times, but he never does it. I've even um, I've even suggested to him that he needs to get off the platform and seek therapy because he obviously has mental health issues, and when he gets any sort of pushback from either the users on YouTube, or from the people who enforce the terms of services when Shawn James breaks them, he like gets extreme anxiety from that. So I've recommended that he step away from the platform, work his stuff out, and because staying on there isn't good for him. Now, do I think he will step away from the platform? No, because I think he's low key addicted to it. Um, I think he's just addicted to the attention, and also that is his outlet. I don't think, I'm under the impression Shawn James doesn't really have many confidants in his life that are like truly confidants. Like, so his outlet is to get in front of the whole world and, you know, get attention that way, and also to blow off like this sort of steam. So I think he's addicted to YouTube and making YouTube videos, and it's obviously a big part of his routine now. And I don't think that'll be an easy thing for him to break, but I do think he's dealing with these two different opposing sides, where like one side is to go on and continue making these videos because he's addicted to it, but another side is like, I can't deal with having to deal with other things that come along with making these videos, especially when he's like talking about all these controversial subjects that he talks about, and not just talking about him, but it's the way he talks about him. Very accusatory, very blaming, trying to humiliate people and things like that.
About my cadence is off, talking about they don't like the way I'm talking about the way they don't like the way I'm sounding. Really, these people are starting to really get on my nerves, and they're really making me really consider
Uh,
just walking away from this. And they're really making me really consider just walking away from this platform because I'm really getting sick of this shit on this platform. Really, really getting pissed off about it. And I would rather just walk away and try to keep a professional demeanor rather than continue to have people constantly coming on my channel disrespecting me. Now, these people basically are getting me to the point they're getting me to a point where I'm going to do something I don't want to do. And one of the things I don't want to do is just turn off the entire comment section. Because if I have to turn off the entire comment section, then a lot of my regular viewers, they're not going to get a chance to be able to engage on the platform. But it's this handful of idiots that makes it where I just want to just turn off the entire.
Okay, I actually have a real question here for Shawn that I don't really think is going to get an answer, but I am wondering, why are you since this is the topic of what's being discussed here and you're so sensitive about this, why are you talking like that? Are you talking like that? It's hard for me to believe that it's because of a medical reason, like who really goes about and talks like this because there's something like medically wrong with it. That seems to be a thing that you're doing intentionally, and I just have to wonder, why are you doing that? Now, I have postulated before that Shawn James is actually somewhere on the autism spectrum, and I really do believe that he is. So, I mean, it's possible it could be like an autistic tick or something like that. Um, but yeah, I am actually curious. Like, are you really intentionally doing that? Is that part of your act? That's what I'm curious about. Or is there something more to it? I assume it's like part of an act, but it could also be some manifestation of autism. Like, that wouldn't surprise me either. Especially since he's so sensitive about this.
Entire comment section and just turn the whole thing off because their behavior is just so disrespectful that I just want to just turn off the entire platform, the whole comment section, and just basically just be able to try to just keep things going that way. But I don't want to do that to my viewers. So it's just getting to the point where I just basically am really seriously thinking about just walking away from this platform for good because just it really has not been good for me over the last couple of months with these idiots just continuing to get in talking about the way that I.
Let me pause you right here, Shawn James. Now, you're like instantly dismissive of them as idiots. Have you ever considered that maybe there's something to what they're saying? Have you ever considered that, maybe the way that I'm speaking isn't appealing or is distracting? Has that ever crossed your mind? Or is it when you come up against something, you just come up with a differing view to yours? Do you just dismiss it out of hand? Because to me, it seems like, it's not just this incident here. It seems to me when Shawn James comes up against something that he doesn't agree with, or somebody points out something that they don't like in regards to him, rather than giving it any kind of consideration, he just out of hand dismisses it. And I think that's fair, except he frequently complains about, being rejected from job interviews and things like that. Okay, well, if you are serious about getting better success in in areas like that, how to make friends and influence people, things of that nature, then you should not dismiss what people are saying about your speech, that kind of ridiculous hairstyle that you have, that this kind of kid and play thing. That's First of all, I remember, I like, yeah, my girlfriend seen him before, and I remember one of the first thing she says is like his hair looks terrible, and you know, well, yeah, like when you're again, you're complaining about things not going your way out in the world. These are things that you might want to consider instead of dismissing out of hand. You have this. I think it's not very appealing looking, but beyond that, it's extremely dated. Like that kid and play stuff was like 1989, 1988, 1990, and it's 2020. It's going on 2025 when I'm making this video. It's November, late November 2024. I mean, that's not appealing to a lot of people, and I think that's okay if you're comfortable with that and you're just like, hey, this is the way that I am, this is what you get. I think that's cool, but then he complains a lot about like nobody's taking me seriously out in the world, and he wants to point all these fingers at all these other people, white supremacists, and it's because of white supremacy, it's because of this, it's because of that, and this is because of disrespectful people. He can't look inward at himself and think about like, well, what can I do to maybe improve my chances out here trying to make friends and influence people. He never does that. It's just that people, this is a bit of a, I don't want to say it's a tightrope you have to walk, but there is a bit of a thing where you should be comfortable with yourself, and if people can't accept you for who you are, then you should be willing to just walk away from that situation. But you should also too look at, well, what can I do to potentially improve my chances in what I'm trying to accomplish here? Like, maybe I shouldn't talk like that. Maybe I should consider a different hairstyle. Things like that. That's like, it's not the thing. The two things aren't mutually exclusive. I think there's a bit of a coming together of both if you're a reasonable person. But one thing I've learned is that you should never necessarily you shouldn't expect reasonable behavior from unreasonable people. Now, Shawn James is an unreasonable person, so unsurprisingly, he can't wrap his head around that. And again, that's where I think like some autism might be at play here, because when you just like you say that to another person, it's like you're speaking a foreign language to them. Like they can't understand it, even though what you're saying is reasonable. Most reasonable people will think that is reasonable, but to them they dismiss it like out of hand. um it To me it just seems like there's something else at play there when they just can't seem to understand what you're saying, and then they just project something else about it, like, oh, I'm talking like this, it's because you can't stand to hear a black man saying something intelligent. Whoa, those are like two completely different things. Like, and I won't be surprised if in this video like he gets into talking about stuff like that, but it's like you're really projecting here. It has nothing to do with a black man saying something intelligent or unintelligent. It literally has to do with the way you are talking. It doesn't have to do with the message of what you're saying, or the words you're using. It has to do with your cadence, your timbre, things like that. And when but he just can't accept that. To me it seems like there's just some other force at play here. Autism's like what makes sense to me, but obviously it's some kind of, this guy's definitely like mentally ill. Like, so that much, we can file away for sure.
I speak, just continuing to be disrespectful, and it just is getting to the point where I just don't want to be able to just do videos or do anything at all. Now, I originally came on this.
Okay, well, then, bro, just don't do them. Like, just don't do them. Problem solved. Like, don't do them. I recommended to you before. Get off the platform if it's having that big of an effect on you to where it's actually affecting your physical, not just your mental health. That's bad enough. But when it's actually really affecting your physical health, sorry about that glare there. Maybe I'll get in the way of it. When it's actually affecting your physical health, then you really need to reconsider like what you're doing, how you're spending your time.
Platform to just try to build a larger audience for my books. And over the last 2 years, books haven't really been selling. So I have been really thinking about, since the books aren't selling, just really just stopping everything for a while because it's just getting to me, just really getting to me. Because if I go out here and again I come here to sell books and people ain't buying books, then I'm basically wasting my time as I see it. So I'm really thinking just leaving everything to Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Shonda Rhimes, and letting them go out here and make the kind of content that these kind of folks want. Because to me, it's like these kind of folks, the only kind of content that they want is this modern day minstrel show. And since you want that,
Well, wait a second here. What does. Maybe I'll just close this up a bit since the sun's glaring through here. Excuse me. Okay, I think that gives us a bit more of a neutral look. Okay, what's the correlation here? Were people actually complaining about your, cuz I'm hearing two different things here. Were people actually complaining about the content or just like the subject matter and the views and stuff, or were they complaining about the way that you talk, or both? Like, those are two different things.
that modern day minstrel show, what I want to do is just step to the side and let you be entertained by all the clowns that you really want to hear from. I just basically want to leave y'all to those type of minstrels and those type of clowns because that's what some of y'all out here really want. Because you don't want to hear from a black man who's speaking intelligently and articulately. No, for you, the cadence is off. You're so busy looking at minutia and minor details that you can't.
Okay, you big dummy. Let me explain this to you. It's because you're putting out something that's really distracting. That is getting in the way of your message because you're doing stuff that's distracting. You're doing yourself a disservice. Like, it seems to me like like in those cartoons, it's like you gotta pick up and like slap a person to try to get them to understand what's going on here. It's like, man, I think people are hearing your message, but your delivery is so distracting that they're focusing on that more than your message. Because imagine if I went up to give like a speech somewhere, and I went there and I had like a big piece of like poop on my head. Wouldn't the Even if I was giving my speech just like normal, but I had this big piece of poop on my head, don't you think that that would be distracting? Don't you think that would take away from my message? Don't you think that people might be focusing even more on this inexplicable piece of poop on my head? Like, can you not understand that? Like, your delivery is distracting, and that's what they're commenting on. That's not their fault, that's your fault. So, I mean, get that through your head.
Hear the message, and that just shows me the level of stupid that's out there. The
No,
level
the level of stupid is you because you can't seem to understand the stuff that I just said. If you got some distracting as hell delivery, people are going to be focusing on your distracting as hell delivery and not on your message, or at least a lot less on your message. And you're stupid for not being able to realize that.
level of stupid and ignorant that is out there. And I basically want to leave this platform and leave people to that kind of content, leave you to that modern day minstrel show. Late David Carroll told you that was out there, and let you have that minstrel show, let you have that clown show, let you have that kind of entertainment. and leave you to that type of content. Because it's clear to me that some folks out here don't want no positive content, don't want no intelligent.
Okay, positive content. Let me take this person to the barbecue and take that person to the barbecue and let me complain about this and never be satisfied about anything. And it's clear that this is a very miserable person, and he makes content that a miserable person would make. His content isn't positive, it's divisive. It's trying to turn people against other people. It's always complaining about something as if there's some grand conspiracy taking place against them. And it's never anything, well, I won't say that. Sometimes there are like some messages on what a person can do to help their situation, and sometimes they're not always bad. But mixed in with that is probably a majority of um, finger pointing and blaming and complaining and stuff like that. I wouldn't say his content overall is positive whatsoever. It's finger pointing, blaming, complaining, and laughing at people when they have like challenges or trouble, like a Maori twin or somebody like that. Oh, dating's not going your way. Ha 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 ha. Like he literally does that. Like that's not positive. So when people start calling him out, like he's freaking out and having panic attacks, really, it's just karma. Like I'm not a superstitious person per se, but sometimes it's hard to believe that karma isn't a thing, either because of some metaphysical force or just easily to explain common sense reasons. Like this is the way that you go about behaving. This is the reaction you're going to get. But let's move on. We're about halfway through.
Content. And since you don't want positive or intelligent content, then basically maybe I need to just walk away from the platform and walk away and just move on. That's the way I feel about things these days because you got a bunch of this new crop of assholes, this new crop that basically all they want to do is hear gender war and all sorts of other stupidity. I mean, basically, I just don't want to waste my.
Well, I think like I'm not interested in like the black gender war. Like I don't relate with that. Like I can give you quick quick overall opinion of that, and it might be I can't promise it's gonna be popular with everybody, but if people feel differently, that's cool. But my point of view on that is personally, I think from my perspective, both black men and black women can be doing things a lot better to make themselves better partners. Um, like a lot of that's how I personally feel. It's not just a one-sided thing, and this is my viewpoint on that. Like if black men or black if say black women are so bad, don't date them and just move on. Like I mean just personally speaking, like it's no secret that my girlfriend is white and I'm perfectly happy in my relationship. Um, and I'm not thinking about like other people, you know what I mean? So my view on that is like if you have such a problem with this type of person, maybe you've had so much bad luck with that type of person, just don't date that type of person. Like there are all kinds of other people out here that might be more suited to you. And problem solved. That's just the way I see it. So I kind of don't understand it. But if you do ask my opinion on the thing, I think both of them. Obviously, I'm painting with a very broad brush here. Not everybody is like that. But I think both of them have things like, yes, black women can be histrionic. Yes, they can be like quick to conflict. But I think, black men, yeah, a lot of them are irresponsible and deadbeats and stuff like that. Not everybody, but if we're being completely honest with ourselves here, um, these stereotypes here aren't stereotypes for absolutely no reason. It's because of recurring patterns. So not everybody's like that. If you gotta date a black person like that, find one who's not like that. If if you don't, then just date a different type of person. You'll probably, there's more, a higher likelihood that you'll find different types of values and characteristics there. Problem solved. That's how I see the gender war. So I don't really relate with it. Or moving on.
My time with this. So I'm just really extremely upset at this point, and I'm so upset at this point regarding things that I'm just getting tired of the nonsense. I mean, whether it's the nonsense in the comment section or the nonsense from YouTube, because you can go out here and put up a video and they'll demonetize the video over a trivial thing like one word, and they'll.
Was your word a racial slur, Shawn? And do they have something in their terms of service about hate speech? Then that's not trivial. That's just you not adhering to the terms of service. Don't blame them for that. That's your fault. So again, we're seeing an example of the finger pointing and all of this stuff going on here. Instead of the lack of accountability, which is a negative stereotype that is often associated with black men. Unfortunately, I'm seeing it here with Shawn right now. Instead of taking accountability for his own actions, even though there's plain as day, these are the rules, and there's plain as day, he's not following them, he's still trying to point fingers at somebody else instead of just accepting that, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing the way he was supposed to be doing it. He was like using racial slurs and stuff.
Put up and again, just do this kind of stuff, and they don't think about the content creator who has to spend hours out of their time making these videos. They don't think about the content creator and the time we put in. No.
Okay, don't put that time in with videos using racial slurs. Problem solved. Again, easily solved problem. But this person can't wrap their head around that. No, it's got to be somebody else's fault. Well, you know what? Yeah, if you have a problem with the terms of service, here's another solution to your problem. Don't use that platform that has those terms of service. Find one where you can use all kinds of racial slurs up in your video, if that's what you gotta do. But anyway, moving on.
I mean, they just think, oh, we can demonetize a video for arbitrary reason, and you're supposed to just sit there and take a loss of your.
You're supposed to follow the terms of service. That's what you're supposed to do. If the terms of service have any kind of language in there that says that you're not supposed to use hate speech, then don't, or racial slurs or something like that, then don't do hate speech or racial slurs. It's not too hard to not include that stuff. At least I don't think so.
More time and take a loss of your money as related to this video. And I mean, I had several videos, just even minor videos, and they just go out here, demonetize the video, and I got to go out here, refilm an entire video, and you got to go out here and refilm an entire video, and it's just a whole lot of stress. So
at this point, it's looking like he's in physical discomfort, displaying physical reactions, as if he's about to have a heart attack. So this is concerning. Yeah, he looks like he's.
I just think about walking away from this platform because these people just don't act right. I mean, it just really pisses me off. So I just think about walking.
That's not an exaggeration. He looks like he may have a heart attack.
Away from this platform because I just can't deal with the stress anymore. I mean, I can't deal with it. It gives me anxiety attacks and just puts me under a lot of pressure. So I really am thinking about because I'm just tired of this nonsense.
He should leave the platform. I've recommended it to him before, but it's at the point now it's getting pretty concerning. He's obviously in physical distress here. His blood pressure is probably all messed up at this point. He's getting anxiety attacks. He could possibly have a heart attack. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's 50 and obese, and has extreme anxiety. I'll just say that it's a concerning. The situation looks concerning.
I just really.
That's why I didn't want. I know that I'm making this video here, but why I made another video prior to this saying that why I hadn't made videos about this guy, because it was clear to me that he was on the verge of some serious breakdown. And I recommended, again, I've recommended it to him more than once, and I've said more than once here, I've recommended to him to stop making these videos, get off the platform, and get your mental health straightened out. And I know people have like different ways of doing that. I think Shawn James has turned to God or something like that. I really believe he needs professional help. I don't think he has the capacity to work through things on his own in a healthy manner. So I would recommend he sees professional about that. Now, if he should do that, this is my message to him. Keep in mind that the first person you find may not be the best fit for you. So, he would probably be inclined to give up, but I would encourage him not to, because I really don't think he can. I don't think he can work through this by himself. I think some people can. Um, some people have healthy ways of processing things and working through them, but I don't think that Shawn James does, from my observations with him. And I think that's one of the reasons he keeps making these videos. I think it's a way of dealing with things for him, but it's not necessarily a healthy way of dealing with things. And I don't think that they offer like long-term lasting benefits. Maybe it might make them feel better for a little bit of time, but the underlying problems they persist.
And I'm tired of the nonsense, and I really just want to just move on. If I had a full-time job, I would have moved on a long time ago, because that's how stressful this platform is, and that's how stressful some of these new folks are. I mean, ever since the aftermath of the pandemic, we just had one clown after another, and people don't know how to be civil on here. So I'm really just thinking about just moving on. I mean,
I said this in another video, but I think that you get what you put in. If you make civil YouTube videos, you're probably not going to get an audience of clowns and stuff like that. Like if you were to say make bird watching videos and you just kept it to bird watching, like you might get some trolls here or there rarely, but I'm willing to guess you probably wouldn't see too much behavior like that. But when you're making the types of videos that you make with the attitude that you make it with, and talking about all the subject matter that you talk about with this accusatory attitude, like everybody else is somehow wrong, um, or they're all dysfunctional, then yeah, you're gonna get people in there who are gonna take issue with you, and you're probably gonna get some like troll behavior going on. So like what you put in is what you get back. That's like that part of the message that I'm trying to impart.
it's like I don't have that much money and things like that, but I just think about moving on from this platform because of the toxicity on here, and just the toxicity all around. I mean, people just constantly complaining about somebody's voice and the way that they're talking, and complaining about minor things, and
Okay, well, like, aren't you constantly complaining about Tia Mowry and who she's dating or something like that? It's like, it's just hypocritical. You know what I mean? It's like you're constantly complaining about people, and then when they constantly complain about you back, you're having a panic attack. Okay, if that's like, it's just hypocrisy from this guy, which is, of course, is nothing new.
that kind of stuff just makes me sick. Because again, I've had to deal with people talking about my voice since I was about 13 years old, making fun of the way that I speak, mocking the way that I talk, and I just cannot put up with this stuff. I mean, it just basically made me silent for an entire 4 or 5 years after I lost a job because an employer didn't like the way I was talking. And when I have to deal with this nonsense on this platform, it makes me want to quit this platform because I don't want this stress in my life. I don't want to deal with this type of drama anymore because, again, it's showing me these people have no respect for me, no respect for my message, no respect for what I'm trying to do, and no respect for me at all. And it just makes me, again, just makes me sick because right now, I'm having anxiety.
Yes, he looks like he's in like real physical distress here, which is concerning. I'm obviously no fan or friend or anything like that to Shawn James, but I, okay, about this video, I think we may have seen enough of it already. I know did not have like a male figure in his life. Yes, he had a father, but I don't think he was really raised by his father. And what's interesting is like he wants to criticize all these other people for not having a father in their life. He didn't really have one either. I'm pretty sure his father may have known who he was, but I don't believe his father was present or raised him. So I'm actually going to give Shawn some like man advice here. Okay, so I think my advice remains the same. Get off this platform. And this is going to work somewhat counter against me because this video he's making here, yes, it's kind of entertaining, and yes, it's pretty validating because I always knew there was something wrong with him. But I'm going to give him a freebie here, and I'm just going to tell him this stuff that you're doing here, this is personal. You don't broadcast this to the entire world. Okay? So, again, that's one reason why I would suggest therapy, because what he's doing instead of that is this. He's getting up and making a fool of himself on the internet in front of the whole world. Now, let me tell you why you don't do this. There are multiple reasons. And maybe if you had a real present father figure, male figure in your life, maybe they would have told you this. Here's why you don't do this. First of all, it's embarrassing. If you're not embarrassed, you should be embarrassed. This type of behavior, you're a man in crisis, and you're projecting a man in crisis. You're not projecting strength, confidence, and composure. You're projecting weakness, uncertainty, wishy-washiness, like, am I going to leave the platform or am I going to stay? So, and I can appreciate vulnerability to a point, but it's situational. You do not want to get up like this in front of a bunch of strangers being vulnerable like that. It's embarrassing. So that's one reason. Here are some other reasons too. With the way that you conduct yourself and the way that the subject matters you talk about, you're going to get people who are enemies and detractors, and they are going to use this against you. So you're just giving them ammunition to use against you. Plus, it makes you look, again, you look like a man. You are a man in crisis, essentially. And it delegitimizes a lot of the stuff that you said or the way you try to present yourself like you've got things together, that you're composed, because you don't. And that was like, that's nothing surprising to me. I always knew that. Another reason you don't want to put this out there is that the internet will record it. So you should, first of all, again, this goes back to, you should be, if you're not embarrassed by this, you should be. But it's going to be something that the internet's going to record, and you may look back at this at a later date and say, wow, look how I behaved, I wish I hadn't done that. But you were foolish enough to broadcast this to the internet, and now once it's on the internet, it can stay on the internet like forever. um, and yeah, so basically you don't want to put this type of stuff out there. If you had this sort of reaction in private with a therapist, that's one thing. There's privacy there. There's a strong, big expectation of privacy. That's personal stuff. I do not recommend, you're just going to make a fool of yourself. You've been making a fool of yourself for like over a decade now, like putting all this super personal stuff out there. And I could appreciate the vulnerability to an extent, but it's very situational. Otherwise, you should be embarrassed by all of this. We're almost done with this, or I think this guy really looks like he looks physically ill.
Attack right now, and it's really getting to me. So I just
Like he's
It just these people just they
fidgeting.
just get to you, get to me overall. Just they just get on my nerves, and it just makes it where I just want to walk away from this platform because these people and it just you constantly complaining about the sound of my voice, complaining about the way that I'm speaking. It just pisses me off. Just pisses me off to the point where I look at this platform and how sick and depraved some of these folks are. I mean, you
Look in the mirror. I know I've said that to him multiple times.
sit there and put fingers to the keyboard. Don't think about what you're doing. Don't think about how it impacts people. Don't think about how it affects.
Okay, how do you think your stuff impacts Tia Mowry if she were to see it, which I doubt she does, but just the general attitude people like you portray to her. And I don't like have a thing like Tia Mowry's like not necessarily important to me. I'm just using her as an example. This guy attempts to humiliate people and apparently doesn't think about what he's saying, doesn't think about how it affects him. He just goes and does it. But then he's looking for, he's looking for like good treatment from other people. No, it goes back to what I said. What you put in is what you get back. If that's how you behave, that's what you're gonna get back, and that's what you get back. So I mean, Shawn, like you really need to. The thing about it, though, again, like why I postulate on things like autism is he can't. He even if you like say that to him just in regular English that's easy to understand, he doesn't seem to be able to like comprehend it. It just doesn't seem to get through. Um,
People don't think about how it just does something to people. I mean, you just don't think at all. I mean, it's just like my parents would say, you need to learn how to think before you speak. You need to.
he should think before he speak. The thing is, okay, if you don't want to be treated like this, don't treat other people like that. All this I'm gonna take you to the barbecue stuff, don't do that. Because all these people are doing out here is taking you to the barbecue right back.
To learn how to think before you say something.
And
A
maybe
lot
that's how it feels when they do that. Like the because you're just doing the same type of stuff to people, and you just can't take it when you get it back. Which that you don't look like any kind of alpha male. You look seriously beta doing that. Like I can dish it out, but when people do it back to me, he's like having a spasms and an attack. Like he's really pathetic, actually.
of these folks don't know how to do that, and since they don't know how to do that, they just go out here and say stuff and just they don't see how it hurts people. They just don't see how it does to people. They just don't care. And again, it just makes me get to a point where I want to put a policy in place where I just want to just go, comment section is closed. It's done because of these folks. Just done because, some people just can't act right. And since that's just the way I feel about things, so I just can't do a show tonight. And what I'm going to do is basically walk away, right? I want to charge this whole platform to the game because the way people just act on this platform just makes me sick. So I had a show planned for tonight, but I'm not going to be able to do that show tonight. So I'm just going to cut things off because I'm just really getting really stressed out. So that's just the end of it as everything.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the Shawn James video, and um, I mean, my message doesn't. It doesn't. It's not. It's no different. I think he needs to get off that platform and sort his stuff out. And I think the best opportunity he has at doing that is just attending therapy. Um, Dealing with a lot of the stuff that he's probably been carrying around for decades at this point. And hopefully, if he does that, he could come through as a much less hateful person. All the animosity he has towards women, towards white people, um, you know, that's not a healthy thing to be carrying around. And hopefully, if he does that, and I'm not confident that he will learn to do a lot more inward reflection and see about the part that he plays in his own situation. because basically he again lacks accountability. He does, he wants to blame, he wants to attempt to humiliate others, but when he gets that same type of treatment back, suddenly he feels like an injustice is being done. When he breaks the rules with YouTube and they enforce him, he feels an injustice is being done. I'm sure Shawn, you probably heard that didn't do nothing. I mean, it's I mean, sometimes when it's disappointing, I think, when people actually live up to negative stereotypes. That's not, it's disappointing to see, like, when that happens. And Shawn James kind of has that attitude, like, I'm gonna go out and cut up and try to make a fool of other people. When he gets that, when he just, the consequences of that come back around to him, didn't do nothing. That's what you hear from him. He so it's disappointing to see that. Don't be like that to the people watching this. And since we're on, I think that's generally to everyone, but especially to the black males out there, don't be like that. Maintain dignity, poise, and accountability. First of all, don't get yourselves in situations where you're being put in a situation. But you definitely don't want to point fingers and blame and not take accountability for stuff that you should be held accountable for. But anyway, that's really all I have to say about this. Shawn James, he's already having breakdowns, but the concerning thing is he's on the road to a mass break, like a real nervous breakdown. And what that would look like, I'm not sure, but I hope that he makes wise decisions, you know, before he gets to that point. But I don't I'm not confident that he will. But that's it for now. I will hopefully see all of you again very soon. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section about this interesting topic below, and check out my own work at zatswan.com. Take care.